Good morning. I am Damian Goodman with the Crenshaw Subway Coalition. We are here with a coalition of community groups that came together, including the Bus Riders Union and the No on 710 Tunnel, the Congress of Racial Equality, from Highland Park to Park Mesa Heights, from Boyle Heights to Beverly Hills, from MacArthur Park to Leimert Park, including the Beverly Hills Unified School District, and Mayor John Murish, or Vice Mayor John Murish is here. We all have concern about Measure J, which is on this ballot. We are all opposed to an unaccountable, non-responsive Metro getting $90 billion of our sales tax over the next 30 years.
It's a pleasure to join with a coalition representing all points of view in the County of Los Angeles to expose a measure that is on the ballot in November, Measure R, that ought to be defeated. As was just mentioned, you have a shakedown taking place here with a shake-up taking place downstairs relative to the mayor and earthquake preparedness program for the transit system. But this is really a shakedown. What we have here is a proposition that is going to lock in population at a 2004 figure all the way until 2069. It's ridiculous. It also is going to limit funding for Metrolink at 3% until 2069. This is where now over 900,000 passengers today ride Metrolink through the 6 counties that serve that program. It's also going to hurt bus service. Our buses are an integral part of our transit system. And finally, it has no connections, no rail connections to our airports. To LAX, the Green Line will not go to LAX because the funding is not adequate in Measure R. It will not go to Ontario Airport because the GO line doesn't go to Claremont, no funding. Or Long Beach, the Blue Line does not go to Long Beach Airport, or the Bob Hope or Palmdale. This does not meet the bus needs, the rail needs, the taxpayers' needs, and it locks in funding until 2069 when all of us will be at our local cemetery, not meeting the transit needs of the population of Los Angeles County. So that is why I joined with my colleague Supervisor Don Canavi in voting no on Measure R, and with this coalition of people behind me who are urging a no vote on R. And let's have a transit system that meets all of the needs, not just the special interest needs. By voting no, we are voting for the taxpayers and the bus riders and their train riders as well.
I want you to know that this Measure J is ostensibly a deceptive position that's been placed on the ballot that once again is going to create a situation where special interests with special concerns for specific profit programs that are not going to be beneficial to the citizens of this county or this city is being promoted. When you begin to realize that you have situations where you're looking at Parson Brinkhoff, you're looking at Westhoff, you're looking at the realty corporations. All of them have a vested interest in seeing this $90 billion project go forward. However, the $90 billion project really isn't $90 billion. When you consider it going until 2069, how many dollars are you really looking at when you put the interest on top of it? You're looking at more than any billion, 90 billion. You could very well be looking at more like $500 billion before it's over with, when it gets extensions and all the rest of those things. The other thing is, who's really going to pay for this? Who's going to pay for it are the moderate and low income people whose services are disrupted because they no longer have bus service or an ability to be able to get transportation to their jobs, for shopping, for schools and other programs. And that's going to be a major impairment to the economic base of this community. We have to look at all of these things and understand that there is more than what hits the surface. We do not have the money to finish the programs that are already in place, the gold line, the green line, red lines. Those are the things that we need to finish. We need to finish them so that we have adequate transportation to the ports, to the airport, and every place else, because they have connections. We do not have connections with this situation.
Beverly Hills was among the cities that voted in favor of the original Measure R at a ratio of about 75%. I think that was among the highest in LA County. Right now I'm taking the position Fool us once, shame on you. Fool us twice. Well, as George Bush said, you're not going to fool us twice. So 4 years ago, voters narrowly approved Measure R, and yet 4 years later, they're asking us for a 30-year extension. My question would be, why should we believe them now? Are they going to come back in another 4 years and ask for another 30 years? Actually, they originally wanted this to become a forever tax. I'd written an article in the LA Business Journal in May decrying that. I guess they didn't like the moniker forever tax. So instead, this is a multi-generational great-grandchildren tax that will be paid off until 2069. We don't know what the technology is going to be. In fact, Metro themselves has said, well, the technology's improved so fast, we can now tunnel, for example, under Beverly Hills High School with these new TBMs, tunnel boring machines. We couldn't do it before. So essentially, they're trying to ask us now to pay for something that we don't know whether it's going to be outdated or obsolete or if it's going to meet the needs of future generations. It is not fair to ask them to pay for it. The arguments that are being made they will benefit from it are not valid because we don't know that those will be the best values for our taxpayer dollars, and that is the problem. Metro seems to be the governmental version of the Wall Street banks that were too big to fail, and giving them more money for another at least 60 years is not the solution. We really have to think of our children. We have to think of all of us and say no. As Phil Brown wrote in City Watch LA, in this day and age, now more than ever, we need to do more for less. Metro is asking us to do less for more. We must say no on Measure J. Thank you.